Alright, so this video is going over your doodle notes. So your doodle notes will look like this, and you will just fill in with each section. Alright, so starting off, weathering is the breakdown of rocks into smaller pieces by natural causes. The pieces of weathered rock are called sediments. So there are two types of weathering. One of them is physical, so the breakdown of rocks into smaller pieces without changing their chemical composition. So some examples of these are abrasion, ice wedging in heat, or melting. So this is physically just breaking it down into smaller pieces. There's no chemicals involved. It's the same thing, just smaller. All right? And then you have chemical. So chemical weathering is the breakdown of rock by naturally occurring chemical changes. So some examples of chemical weathering are solutions, oxidation or rust, and carbonation. So this is whenever the rock actually changes and breaks down or becomes different, but it's still considered weathering. So factors that influence how quickly a rock will weather is the surface area of that rock, the climate, and the type of rock. So how does weathering impact people? Weathering damages roads and buildings. And then how does weathering relate to the rock cycle? Weathering creates the sediments that are deposited and settle to become sedimentary rock. So you guys learned about sedimentary, indigenous, metamorphic rocks. Weathering has a lot to do with the sediment part of that because it creates those sediments. Erosion is the movement of sediments from one location to another by water, ice, or wind. So running water, rivers, they carry sediments downwards, into the actual basins. So waves move sediments from the beach. They tend to move the sediments up on the shoreline and then bring it back down. This is where you see the changing of coastlines or river basins and stuff like that. And then ice, so glaciers pick up sediments and carry them as they're shifting through the earth or shifting around earth. This is very slowly, but it does carry around in glaciers. And then wind can move sediments in long distances. It picks them up, especially the smaller sediments, pretty easily. If you've seen a dust storm, if you're on a ball field or a park or on the beach, when the wind is blowing, you can feel sometimes the sediments hitting you and shifting. This happens a lot. And running water waves and wind are probably the most common that you will experience. So features formed by erosions are valleys, canyons, gullies, and mesa. And then how does erosion impact people? So it affects farmers because the wind or water can carry away that soil or that nutrient. Homes and roads. So roads can tend to be washed away or damaged. And then sinkholes, such as this area right here, you may have seen on the news or Facebook or Instagram, like just holes just becoming a part of the earth and sinking everything down with them. All right, deposition is when sediments are dropped in a new location and they build up. The features formed by deposition include beaches, sandbars, sand dunes, and deltas. So in this picture right here, that is a delta. All the sediments were being carried and they dropped right here in this area. Where you can see the water actually carrying some more of those away as well. And then on the back of your notes, you're just going to have to explain how weathering, erosion, and deposition are related to processes. So weathering creates sediment, which are moved by erosion and dropped somewhere by deposition.